Hello everybody and welcome to another amazing video of DIY investing. For today's video, I'm going to be breaking down why I believe that Bitcoin is ready for a short-term bounce, why this is going to bring a lot of relief inside of the markets. It looks like, at least in the short term, this drop is over, and so now we're going to talk about how to prepare for what's going to be coming over the next few weeks. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and with that being said, let's jump right into this amazing video today. Alrighty guys, now here we are to start off today's video. If you've been watching, you know that we've been calling this entire move up for Bitcoin since the very beginning, when we got our first wave in here, all the way up to the top of our wave 3 and wave 4. This is when we talked about how we were going to get one more final impulse before this move was over, and then we did exactly that. Now once I started warning everybody that it was a good time to be taking profits, once we were up here at the range highs, I talked about why I was expecting that we would be in for a deeper correction. Now as it stands right now, I don't believe that we're completely out of the clear of this correction, but I do believe that we are getting ready for a bounce. Now, this entire consolidation that we're pretty much inside of right now, I believe is where we're going to probably end up producing that bounce. And it is possible that this thing could make a wick and drop a little bit lower, but for me it doesn't really matter that much, because what I've personally been watching for and what I've been talking about in my last videos was the fact that I am expecting some type of a relief bounce back up at least near to these wave 3 highs. And so during that period, I think that there's going to be a lot of different altcoins doing different stuff. Some altcoins might finish their actual tops that maybe didn't up to this point, while most altcoins are going to end up making lower highs and lower lows. There are certain altcoins that do look like they could potentially make a new all-time high during this move, but the vast majority of them, for me at least, end up looking like they're going to end up seeing this being a lower high along with Bitcoin. And what we're looking at here based off our Elliott wave count, this entire move all the way back down to wave 4 support was wave A. I think that this relief bounce coming up soon over the next couple weeks is going to be wave B. And then I believe that this takes us to a final wave C as we finish out the top of this move. We kind of come back down to this level, break it, and then we'll find one more capitulation type of event that will take us back down to about 19,000. That's really the average area that I would target, anywhere from 20 to about low 18,000s, like 18.3 thousand. Anywhere from there is really where I think the market's going to end up bottoming for real. But in the short term, it does look like we're going to at least see a little bit of a relief bounce. And so during this time, I think it's an opportunity to at least make a little bit of profit. Like I stated in my last video, I started buying back certain altcoins that I took profit on up here. I've started to buy back those in increments. They've already hit some of those levels that I was originally looking, specifically that 618 Fibonacci. I've already started to add to new positions. I've already started to compound on the old positions that I took profits on. And doing so, you know, I'm not so much worried that this thing goes a little bit lower. Even if we go below support right here, you know, this thing could drop and end up being a big wick before we make that bounce back up. And so just understand that this can definitely get more volatile than people are expecting. And that's why for me personally, what I've done is I've made it a big factor to simply start to accumulate smaller amounts. You know, I haven't bought back entirety of my positions or anything. And if I have bought back a decent amount, I still have a little bit left over that I'm willing to actually buy more of if we end up making a lower low. But for the most part, this is kind of the way that I see the market playing out for us. I think that we've got a relief bounce over the next couple weeks, and then that'll be taking us back upwards into our prior resistance levels. You know, from here, this B wave could be a little small. You know, maybe we don't go all the way up to the top of our wave 3. Maybe we stop below this resistance that we were at right before our drop most recently, which would be taking us to about just even $23,000. You know, I wouldn't be surprised to see something like that where the wave B doesn't go very high. It's just a quick little bounce over these next week or two, and then that'll take us in for that final capitulation that we're watching. Because the big thing that I'm watching for above all else, no matter where this short-term bounce takes us, whether we drop for one more final low like that and then bounce, it doesn't matter. I am expecting a bounce, but the big thing that I'm watching for over the next couple months, the big picture, is not so much these little short-term bounces or anything. I'm waiting for what happens after our final capitulation, which we know is an important level indicated by this entire consolidation that we were at throughout the entirety leading up to the FTX collapse. And that's, in my opinion, the big area of demand that most people should be watching for. Because regardless of a bounce, I still think that is a lower high. and then that takes us for one more final lower low before this move is even close to being done. And we've got a pretty decent area of support that we can go inside and land, and that's really where you're going to wanting to be having that cash reserves waiting to go and catch your bids on that final drop. But nonetheless, guys, I think that once we get this relief bounce up in here, it's still going to be a profitable time. Like I stated, there is certain altcoins that do look like they're actually going to finish one more final wave 5. Some of them look like they're right here inside of wave 4, and they look like they need one more final wave 5. Now, whether they're going to actually play out like that or not is yet to be determined, but during any sort of period of consolidation for Bitcoin, especially in a big consolidation like this, after we have an extended correction like this and we get a bounce, those relief bounces are oftentimes very profitable for specific altcoins. Microcaps will end up breaking out and making new all-time highs. There's still a lot of opportunity inside of the markets, and so I wouldn't get too worried about specifically like missing out on profit. Even if you start to see the markets taking off in a big way, you're seeing new narratives starting to take off once again, because keep in mind, guys, that no matter what, we're still in bearish market structure. I mean, we did just break down from our wave 5 top, and we did just make lower lows and lower highs all the way back down here. So technically we're below resistance. This is resistance, and we're sitting below trending support right now. And so any sort of bounce should be taken with, risk. You should be looking at it as a risk type of move, because it's most likely going to result in a bull trap that takes us for one more lower low. And so just be aware of that, guys. I don't think it's a bad idea to be buying and accumulating certain things right here. I've actually bought a few things. I've opened some leverage positions. I've done some stuff like that because I do think that there will be volatility to be trading, and not only just ignoring this volatility up and down that we're expecting to see over the next 1 to 2 months. I still think that, if certain altcoins that you sold up in here are bouncing off those 618 levels, they've, provided good opportunities. Some of those altcoins I sold are already down 40%. So, I mean, it's not like it's a terrible idea for me to buy some of that stuff that I've been watching. Because the big thing I want you guys to always remember is it's not about nailing the exact bottom. It's just about looking for good opportunities. And when you see the whole market correct like it has, you're seeing altcoins down 40% from their highs. And if they're sitting on support levels, or if they're looking like a good setup, don't completely eradicate the potential of you accumulating some just because you think that maybe we get one more low. And that's kind of the way that I'm playing it. I've got the vast majority of my cash waiting for that final low. But during this period, I'm still buying. I'm still looking for positions. I'm still always watching the market, because even if we bounce right here, we make that relief bounce right here, altcoins could go up 20, 30, 40% out of that move. And so, that's a good profit nonetheless. That's a good swing trading opportunity. For the people that are just holding for the long term, even if we go for a lower low, I always say just keep a little bit of cash on the sidelines, specifically for those altcoin positions that you want to be holding for the long term. I've got a lot of Arbitrum altcoins that I'm looking at for the long term, and so during this entire rise up was me holding them, making good profit. I took a lot of those profits right here at almost the exact top, and so with them dropping 40% or more, now is a good opportunity for me to get back in. Even if we end up making one more final lower low after that point, I still got a little bit of money on the sidelines that I'm going to be dumping back into those same positions, because the big thing here is you want to make that profit on the way up, but then you want to be compounding that profit into the same positions. Whatever your long-term positions are, whatever altcoins you think are going to perform the best, one of the very best strategies to be able to grow a portfolio without having to constantly put more cash in from, your job or whatever it is that you have cash sitting in a bank account. In my opinion, if you're able to do this, because not everybody's going to be cut out for trading, and if you're not, don't even attempt it. I would just recommend buying and holding for the long term. But in my opinion, the very best way to accumulate crypto without having to, without continuing to have to put new money into the market is simply by looking to take profits on the run up. Once you've taken those profits, look to compound those profits by buying the same positions that you really feel comfortable about holding in the long term, because then you're going to be able to grow more of that position. Yes, you're going to have to pay some taxes, but you guys got to keep in mind that assuming you bought something down here and then you sold it up here, and you have to pay 30% taxes just on that profit alone, you're still better off taking the profit, paying the taxes, than you are watching the entirety of that position drop another 50% or more. Because, Bitcoin's down 15% from the highs. A lot of altcoins are down 30, 40 plus percent at this point. And so you're better off taking those profits, even though you have to pay the taxes, because you're still going to end up making more money by paying the taxes, selling the top, and eating that 30% short-term capital gains tax, depending on where you're at in the world. But for Americans, that's 30%. You're still better off taking those profits and then buying the dip on the way back down. You're still going to end up making more of the same position. You're still going to end up making profit. For me, this profit's getting rotated back into those old positions because I'm looking to compound for the long term. The real focus of our portfolios, even though this is going to be a profitable time, the real focus of our portfolios is always, let's actually go to a different chart. Our focus of our portfolios in the short term should be for the long term, right? That should be our main focus. In the short term right now, I should say, our focus should be to compound those positions that we like for the long term with the focus of holding for the long term. And what I mean by that is if we come back here and look at all of our prior cycles, I hope to give you guys a little bit of an idea of what I mean. Now, when it comes into the 4-year cycles, we've been following a 4-year cycle since basically 2015. You could technically write this one as a 4-year cycle, although this one was only technically 3 years from peak low to peak low. But regardless, we've been following these 4-year cycles for the last 10 years approximately. And so if you're somebody that's wondering, how to structure this, like I've stated, guys, the best thing that we can do is simply buy at the bottom of the 4-year cycle and then sell 3 years into the bull run, because that's the way these markets work. We get a 3-year bull run, 1-year bear market. 3-year bull run, 1-year bear market. And that's been the case basically since the last 10 years. And if you're feeling like you want to, protect yourself from even more risk, take profits halfway through the cycle. Instead of holding for a full 3 years, take profits at 15 months to 24 months and, hold some for the long term just in case we end up making that full 3-year cycle. But the big thing here, guys, is the fact once we break out of these descending resistances on the log scale, once we break out and make a support and resistance flip outside of our descending resistance of the 1-year bear market, that's every single time where we've signaled that the new bull cycle is upon us. And we can look at every single one of these. Bear market, broke out of the bear market, brand new uptrend. Same thing happened here. Broke out of the downtrend, flipped it as support, 3-year uptrend. Same thing happened here. Broke out of it, started the 3-year uptrend. And now, guys, we've literally done the exact same stuff all over again right here. The only difference is we're just getting to that point where we're flipping it as support, and then we'll get that next leg up. And so if history has proven us anything, it's that what we should be focusing on is holding the majority of the trend. So when I talk about taking profits, understand that where my profits are going are right back into those same old positions. Altcoin positions that I really like for the long term that, I'm able to make profit on in the short-term volatility of our initial breakouts. But these are cryptos that I'm taking profit on, and I'm buying all of that profit that I made right back into the same positions once they drop. And the whole purpose of that is to simply compound more of those tokens that I want to hold. Because once we hit to, year 2 of the bull trend, that's where the market really starts to go crazy. And the majority of our profit is made once we break those all-time highs. That's where the markets go into price discovery and we make the most profitable type of moves, right? It's still profitable to hold throughout this entire uptrend leading up to the breakout of the all-time highs. But once we've confirmed the breakout of the all-time highs and everything goes into, just crazy price discovery, that's the point where we make the majority of our profit. And it was the same way in the last cycle. I didn't really get heavy money into the market until back over here, right before the COVID capitulation, and I put all of it in right before the COVID capitulation. I only got to invest like $1,000 at the bottom of this. So throughout that entire period, I really didn't even have that much money. But because of the fact I had money leading into that final move into price discovery, I still made tons of money in the process because the majority of your money is still made during this period of the bull cycle. This entire first leg up of our last cycle and all of this, year and a half worth of consolidation, this was just the build-up phase. So you get this entire year and a half approximately to basically just build a portfolio, build a strong foundation of what your investments are. And then once we get to that final year to a year and a half of the bull run and the cycle top, that's where everything just goes completely insane. You shouldn't be focusing on trying to nail a price target because they just go up to levels that you really weren't expecting. And that's why I say that you're much better off investing based off of time. And, that's for me what I constantly try to focus on, and what I try and get you guys to focus on is the fact that if we look at history based off of the 4-year cycle, we have a 3-year uptrend, 1,064 days there. If we come over here, 1,064 days here. So we have 3 years of an uptrend. And if that's the case right here, now that we're at the very early stages of this bull run, if we've got a whole another 1,060 64 days right here, we're looking at a cycle top somewhere at the end of 2025. And so for this entire period before we're breaking out and making a new all-time high, this is where we really want to be able to have a strong foundation, have a strong portfolio built and accumulated before that final blow off top happens. Because as somebody who's been going into my third cycle now, I can tell you guys that the amount of money that I made having a solid foundation and a good portfolio right before that all-time high was way more money than I ever thought possible. And so if we have this opportunity to do it from even an earlier stage, I've got way more money at the cycle low than I ever even thought of or dreamed of having in the last cycle low of 2018. So with this next cycle, I've literally taken all of those lessons, all of those mistakes, all of those victories, every single thing over my 7 years of crypto, and I'm just focused in on being able to help you guys learn from my mistakes and make the most profit. And this is what I see happening. You know, at the end of the day, it makes people mad when you come over and you start talking about the short time frames of Bitcoin. When we start getting in here and we start covering, you know, bearish price action, it makes people upset for some reason. But the big thing to understand here is this is an opportunity to compound those gains. This is an opportunity to get more of those same positions and literally become a whale. Because if we're buying some of this stuff down here at the very beginning, if this really is the first impulse of the new bull cycle, like I believe it is, we're literally accumulating at the ground floor. And if this cycle is as big as I think it's going to be, you know, we will literally become whales by accumulating just small amounts of positions now. Because once the fullness of the entire blow off top takes place, there's altcoins that are going up so much in value so quickly that $1,000 investment right now could literally equal $1 million, $2 million, $5 million. It can equal a ton of money, even just a few $100,000, a few $100,000 off of $1,000. Isn't that crazy? But I see it happen every single cycle. I've watched it happen every cycle. There's been altcoins that I've been holding that have done those type of gains, whether I sold at the top and bought at the bottom. You know, I never ended up doing that, but I was still able to capture the majority of that profit. You know, when a crypto goes up 100x in value, if it goes up 1,000x in value, chances are you're not ever going to actually make the entirety of that profit. So what we do is we focus on having that portfolio built in the early stages of the cycle so that when the blow off top happens, you know, we don't have to worry too much about that, because once we're up 50, 100x and they just keep going, you know, it's hard to hold on to that type of stuff. You're going to end up selling too early. So you're better off selling too early by accumulating down here at the bottom than you are buying late and expecting to hit 100x when the whole market's about to top, right? So anyways, this is the video I had for you. I just wanted to summarize what I'm seeing in the short term. I think we're going to see a bounce here in Bitcoin over the next couple weeks. Should be a good opportunity for certain altcoins. A lot of swing trading momentum. But then overall, I'm still expecting that we're going to see that final correction. So as it stands right now, I have started buying stuff, have started open new positions. So if you guys do want to know what I'm buying, how I'm taking profits, what my trading plans are moving forward, which leverage positions I just ended up accumulating today, you want to know all of that stuff, you guys need to join my Discord server. It's simple as that. I talk about a lot of stuff on YouTube, but I don't talk about hardly any of it as far as details go on YouTube. I talk about the details inside of my Discord, the exact price targets, where I'm entering markets, how long I'm holding, all of those things. Plus you guys get to direct message me and ask me specific questions. Anything that you guys are wondering about your portfolio, anything that you guys are wondering about trading, anything that I can help you to understand based off the way I'm trading my personal portfolio. I think that that's what's important, because everybody's got different cryptos, but the big thing to understand here is what am I doing with my money, how am I investing my money, and how have I structured my portfolio. That way anybody can see it, anybody can understand, you know, what somebody who's been doing this for 7 years can see. And on top of all of that, it's going to be lifetime access. So as long as I'm running crypto, once crypto dies and I move on to stocks and I move on to anything else, there's huge opportunities throughout the entirety of the market space, not just crypto. So if you guys want to know how I'm trading all of this stuff, links are in the description. Go ahead and sign up. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And for the people that are still here, working through this entire correction, you know, hats off to you guys. A lot of the people have already disappeared. A lot of those people that were calling for 10K are coming out strong calling for 10K. But we all know what's going to happen. We got a 3-year bull run ahead of us, and the people that are preparing for it right now are going to be the ones that capture the majority of that profit on the way up. Thank you all so much for the support, and with that being said, I will catch you in the next one. As always, peace out.